17 questions with Bashi. 17 questions with Bachi.
All right, welcome to 17 Questions with Bocce with special guest Elsrich. And how are you doing this morning, Elsrich? Well, this is going to be posting like past midnight.
Yeah, no, I'm great. I'm doing well. We're on settlement talks watch, so that's what I'm thinking about. But other than that, everything is doing what it's supposed to do.
Now, folks, if you are watching this, you got to know, and everybody probably does know if you've watched me long enough, that C Journalist 24 and Elsrich are who I always credit for why I'm even on YouTube. And so it's so weird. This is a question I always ask folks that come on 17 Questions with Bocce. Feels weird to ask you because I feel like everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
But people want to know, where can people find your content, and to tell us a little bit of who you are for those who don't know. But like, who doesn't know Elsrich? I mean, I don't even know.
I feel like I should have been disqualified from doing the 17 questions thing, but I don't know why you wanted me so badly. You should have just
Because
disqualified
you are
me.
a genius, and people need to hear that genius. And people have
Thank you. I
questions for
appreciate
you.
that. I appreciate that. But I feel like everybody, and now I feel like I'm tooting my own horn, but I was like, I should be disqualified from this, right? But no. No, people can find me here, obviously, on YouTube. And my name is Elsrich everywhere. So TikTok, Instagram, and here. I still don't know how to use the Reddit, so I'm not there. But YouTube.
I feel like I've seen you on YouTube, to be honest. Are you on YouTube? Not YouTube. Facebook?
Reddit?
Facebook.
Facebook? Yes, I am on Facebook.
What made you decide to start creating content about the Blake Lively versus Wayfarer case?
You know, I always tell people, when people say I'm a content creator, I always like to, I'm not a content creator. I'm a Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case creator, because I think when the case is done, and I've had this conversation with you and I've had it with other people, I think I really might just go away. And people are like, no, you need to talk about other stuff. And I've tried. It's just like, I cannot fake the funk for my life. Like, I have to really care about the subject.
Yeah.
And I have to like have a genuine interest in it to come off authentic. If not, you can tell. I think authentically is like me pulling up timeline of relevant events and drawing the lines and making things make sense for people and making it fun and funny. So what made me do this case is, I mean, obviously, like, just the injustice everywhere and the math never math from the beginning. And I remember, I think I've told you this before, but I remember specifically I was coming from Costco with my husband one night where we just went to buy some essential water. And I was in a car and I was like, hey, this case is driving me nuts. And the way people are covering it is driving me nuts, because I feel like people are looking at it from one lens without like allowing everything else about Justin that like I have known from following him from a while to come together and make it make sense to me. There is not a single person whose content I saw and I was like, okay, this is a full picture. And I feel like, I think I found a niche, when they say find a niche in your content. I was like, okay, nobody is explaining things the way I am. A lot of people were reading the law documents. A lot of people were reading stuff on the docket verbatim to people. But I was like, I don't want to sit through a 12-minute video on TikTok. And especially TikTok is not the platform for that. And I'm a very quick-witted, I think I am.
You are.
In real life. So I was like, I can make this make sense. So that's why I try to do the 2-minute videos. And then people are like, no, we want to hear more. And then they pretty much forced me to come on YouTube. My TikTokers and my Instagram followers were like, can we hear you talk longer than 2 minutes? And I was like, you want to hear me talk longer than 2 minutes? Then I started YouTube. But yeah, that's a very long-winded way of saying I started talking about this case because I felt like nobody was talking about it the way I do.
Yeah. And I love your contribution. I hype your videos when I get to have an opportunity to watch your videos. I hype it, make sure people see it, because you know how to do things in a very concise way, which is not my gifting. But you know how to make it punchy and like just fun to watch, but also like very straightforward about everything, which I really appreciate about your content.
Yeah, thank you. And I think I like to do it that way while also maintaining, like, you don't miss the point. Because I think that's what was difficult with a lot of the things I was seeing. Sometimes I would watch a 6-minute video and I would still be wondering, what is the point? Like, what is the key here? What was I supposed to get from this video? And I would get nothing. And somehow I've managed, I don't know how, for the life of me, it just might be a gift, but I've managed I can make a 2-minute video and you would know exactly what I'm talking about and it would make sense to you and you can explain it to somebody, which was kind of my goal, to make sure like the buck wasn't stopping with me. Like, I wanted to make sure I was educating more than just me and the person watching me. Like, you can now go explain to your friend the same way I explained it to you in plain English, no lawyer rigmarole jargons, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's truly helpful. I do think it is a gifting to be able to know exactly what the point is.
Thank
Because Lord knows that's not my specific
It's gonna
gifting
take a
at
live. It's
all.
gonna take a live to get there.
Yeah, exactly. What and you kind of answered this question already, but what lens or perspective do you bring to this case that shapes how you talk about it?
I'm biased. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. I'm not, if you're looking for somebody to be down the middle and look here, look there, no. I'm a mother of a son and I'm a wife to a husband. I've said that
Mhm.
before. And to me, already, that's like, especially in this case, right? If you're looking at it in this case, the disadvantage that like men already have. And I never thought I would be one of the, I'm a feminist, by the way. I never thought I would be one of those women who are defending every time. I'm like, y'all making me defend a man. Like, I hate that. But the way this case went, I was like, oh, this is dangerous. Like, I
Mm,
don't want to live in a world where just because my son is a boy and my husband is a man, they're at a
mhm,
disadvantage because somebody can say something and automatically that person is believed without allowing them to explain themselves or have their perspective or whatever. So I think that already to me was like a starting point to like get into this. But mainly, I think it was also kind of like, I hated the idea of like all women are like, we believe all women. And then people didn't want to have the conversation. I don't know if you guys remember, but like if you're watching this a couple of years ago, it came out, man versus bear. Like if you were a
oh,
woman and
yes,
you were in
mhm,
the woods and every woman chose the bear and it was fine. But there was this creator on TikTok who started the, if you work in a corporate office, would you pick, and you guys bear with me, what I'm saying makes sense. The man versus bear conversation was fair. And there was a black woman creator, and she says a white female coworker versus a white male coworker. Who are you picking? And all the black women and black people picked the male white
mm,
coworker, and all the white women were up in arms. And
mm,
all the black women were like, no, it's the same thing as you guys picking the bear over a man. We don't feel safe with you.
mm,
And people were mad for a while and people got it, but people were mad. And I think it was kind of that for me is Blake Lively kind of had the advantage of the white woman tears already. And then you factor in everything we've learned in this case, the little microaggressions. And I was like, oh yeah, no, we don't believe all women. We don't believe all, where's I need evidence, right? And
mhm.
I think that's the easiest way I can explain it to make it make sense. Like whatever danger you think somebody poses to you, you have that danger for somebody. You pose that for somebody and you need to be willing to accept that.
Yeah, and I think it's such an interesting thing too, right? Because when we think about like the Me Too movement and believe all women, that came from the fact that people defaulted in believing the men,
Yeah.
believing the men. So it was like in response to that, like, hey, no, can we believe victims? Can we
Yeah.
believe this stuff? But then I think what ended up happening and causing some of the upheaval is it went from giving a space for victims to be believed to suddenly like it doesn't matter what the evidence is. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
just believe them, and that always causes damage
Yeah.
because the whole purpose was like no, that's what Me Too and Believe All Women was fighting against, this belief that if it's a man, you just believe him.
Hmm.
You don't even bother to hear what the woman has to say or the victim
Yeah.
has to say.
Yeah.
And now
Exactly.
it's like swung the other way. And I think whenever things swing one way or the other, people try to bring it back to
Back
like,
to the center. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
So when people tell you your content resonates, what do you think they're connecting with most?
Oh, and sometimes in a comment section, like I spend a lot of time in a comment section reading people who are like, it seems trivial almost when people are like, oh my God, I love your content. I'm like, that's big. Like, what is it? And then there are people who will leave you detailed comments. I love your wit. Like, I love the way you make, like, what made you even think of that joke? Stuff like that. I think there's something somebody likes about me. It's not maybe like a whole package altogether. And every time I'm kind of like in awe. I'm like, who do you people think I am? Like honestly, like what makes you think you like me? And truly, people like, and I know that they truly like me because like I've had a couple of initiatives on my channel where I had people support me back home and the support was crazy. I was like, well, you guys really like me like that? So, and I think it's not just the content resonating with them, but knowing that me, whoever I am that's coming through the screen, whoever I am that I think sometimes I'm a lot and I'm loud and I'm out there and I'm crazy, some way, somehow it's fine with this community that I found. So I think it's more than just the content resonating with them, but to me, people just kind of liking me. And it goes kind of back to the other question of people just wanting me to, they're like, when this case goes away, don't stop making content. We will listen to you, whatever you have to say. And I'm like, well, do you though? Like, I don't know that you want to hear that. So I think it's just kind of, it's cool. It's kind of cool in a way. Not like I feel like a celebrity or anything, but I feel like this is what maybe celebrities who have fans like, oh my God, can I have your autograph? Every time somebody says, I'm like, okay, would you like an autograph? No, but I think it's nice. It's nice to know that like the ideas that I have in my head or before I make a video, because I sit down and I write stuff out. Whatever it is that like I'm taking the time to write. If I have a video that gets 20,000 views and there are 30 people in the comments or whatever, and not everybody has time to comment, right? But the people who do comment, if it's like 1,000 comments and there are 50 people in there resonating with something I said, or they take time to actually watch, because sometimes they will quote me back to me. And I love that. I think that's one of my favorite things in the comment section, when people don't just leave like generalized comments, but they quote something I said in the video to make me know they actually watched and they actually listened. It's just kind of cool that, you know, they take the time to listen to what I say and my perspective is actually needed. And it's just, I think it's a cool experience.
Yeah. Well, I now know that I should comment one of the things that you said. So just,
No, I love
I'm
that.
listening.
Yeah. Do you not notice that when people do that with you, or you don't pay that much
my
attention to
favorite
it?
comment, the favorite comment I have from folks is that they listen to me while they're cleaning their house.
Yeah,
Or they
those are
fall
fun.
asleep
Yeah.
to me. I
Yeah.
mean, my favorite. Those are
Yeah.
my favorites.
Yeah, I love that. But I think if you start paying attention, like when sometimes I will read something in a comment and I'm like, wait, I said that, right? And then they will sometimes they'll put the timestamp. So when you
Oh,
click it,
I do love the timestamps.
I love it,
I
right? And
love
I'm
the
like, oh, you
timestamp.
were listening. Or sometimes there's no timestamp, but I know what I said because it's like maybe a 14-minute video. So when I read the comment back, I'm like, wait, those are my words, right? And then they're like, oh my God, I'm taking that. And then I love when they say, oh my God, I'm taking this from you. I'm taking this quote from you. I'm
I
going to
love
start
it.
using this in my life. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the only thing that I can say that people started saying because I said it was August 8th was a Thursday. But
Was
then
it Thursday?
technically I can't take credit for that because that's
Yeah.
Blake Lively's redaction.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So that was, but hilarious. Okay, speaking of hilarious, first questions is from Julesy, who's one of my bocce besties. And she said, has Elsrich always just been so hilarious? And what is next for her platform?
Oh God. The what's next question? I can't. Have I always been hilarious? I didn't know that I was funny.
Oh, really?
So you guys started telling me I'm funny.
What? Nobody was laughing before?
No. People were like, how do I put this? Like I said, I've always been quick-witted, right? I've always been a banter type of person. And my husband, the way my husband laughs at my jokes or when I say stuff is by him being so shocked that he will look at me and be like, how? Like my husband is not like a rolling on the floor. He's never going to roll on the floor laughing. Sometimes I just say things that take him out so badly. His only reaction is literally to like pause and be quiet and look at me and be like, how did you come up with that? Or like, and he will be so like in awe of what I said. And it's funny, but to him, funny is like, you're dangerous, man. Like there's no way that came out of your mouth. So, and I've had people laugh at jokes before, but I didn't know that I was ha ha he he funny, like multiple times in a sentence funny. And I say all the time, 90% of the time, I don't know what I'm saying till I've said it, which to me is so dangerous because I'm like, I've said stuff in videos and I'm like, oh no. delete. You cannot put that out there. Like I don't know what's coming till I say it. So I've always been witted. Like I said, very quick witted, very bantery. I can hold my own in a conversation. I just never knew that I was hilarious, funny, make people laugh, almost to people asking me to take my show on the road funny. And the what's next part, like I said, Paul's favorite quote is, I can't rest till Justin Baldoni gets justice. So check with me after this case. Check with me. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, you should go on TV. I feel like the minute you put me on TV, I'm done. The minute you put a script in front of me, it's over. I cannot read a script. So
what?
no.
How Blake Lively of she can know.
No.
She read the script. She rewrote it. She just didn't read the book.
What I mean is, I can read a script, obviously. What I mean is, if somebody tries to like cultivate what I'm doing in a structured form and produce me, you will lose me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I can be produced.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you were trying to like fit me in a schedule and a time slot, and you've had conversations with me, Bocce, where we've gone 4 hours and realizing we haven't talked about what we needed to talk about. So I think the minute you try to put me in like a structure, or you will lose, we will all lose a plot. And like, it's one of the things that you can tell it will come off of me very easily if I'm like being produced. Like, it will be very, very easy. So for now, let's just wait for victory and let's wait for justice to get Justin to get justice, and then we'll see after that what's coming next. We'll see after that.
Okay. And this is from Carol Snyder, our fave.
Why didn't she just text me? Why is she asking questions on here?
She says, how does she do it? Did she ever feel like she had the skills to be a content creator? I know that you talked about the difference between content creator and what you feel like you've done, and went for it, or does it just come naturally to her?
I'm about to embarrass myself. I legitimately always thought I could be an actress.
Well,
like,
we still think you can be an actress.
Yeah, I still think I could be an actress. Like, I've always thought I was made for like the big screen. Cause I always could memorize, like when I watch shows and movies and stuff, I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. But when it comes to content, I never thought I could do this type of content, right? I thought at most, and I always knew I could never do lifestyle content either. Like the people who set the tripod up and go grocery shopping and they feed their families. I knew I could never be that. But my earlier videos on TikTok, if you would look, I was doing like TV show and movie reviews. Cause to me, that was kind of like talking to the audience about like an opinion. So I would do like movie reviews and TV show reviews. And every now and again, I'll do like a cooking vlog or something like that. So I always thought I had the capacity to do some type of content and be on somebody's screen, but I didn't know that this would be it. And I have, I don't have my notebook here, but last year, before I got into this, I remember telling my husband I wanted to do content enough that like I was just going to do tennis content because I watch a lot of tennis. And I felt like there wasn't a lot of tennis content out there, like content creators covering tennis. So that's what I was going to do. So I do have a couple of videos actually on my TikTok that are about tennis from the beginning of last year in January. And then this case fell in my lap. I picked it up and I never stopped. And it just was, it was so easy. And I think that's the thing too. Like, I don't feel like I have to, I don't want to say I don't feel like I have to work for it because that's a lie. Because I work really hard on the content, but I don't ever feel like I'm forcing it. So I think that answers that does it come naturally to me? Yes. As much as I have to read the docket, I have to understand everything. Once I pick up my phone or I sit in front of this camera and I start recording, I never ever feel like, oh my God, like what am I about to say next? Like I'm never hyperventilating. Billy could text me and be like, hey, can you come alive in 5 minutes? And I can go. And you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not anxious. I'm not scared. I'm not thinking of what I'm about to say next. It's just flowing. So yes, in that capacity, I would say yes. I've always kind of had it in me and it does come easy. It does come natural, not easy. I would say it comes naturally. Yeah.
The next question is from Out of Ideas, who I always joke is always full of ideas. So I don't know how Out of Ideas got Out of Ideas as a name.
Ideas, yeah.
But
I think it's a good name though.
Yeah, it is. How does Elsrich function with so little sleep? And also, I would like to know more about her charity work.
Oh, that's sweet. I'll do the charity work very quickly because I think that's more important. And you guys, if you've if you've seen my page, you know, my family's been doing this since I was a kid. I've been doing and I hate calling it charity work, but if you will, just supporting my community, supporting the people around me. I've been doing it since I knew the word. You know, I grew up in a household where giving was just part of what we do. Sharing was just part of what we do. Down to I got in trouble a couple of times for going to church and coming back home with the wrong shoes because I traded with somebody who had on like one of my friends who had on like horrible shoes, and I had just got some new shoes and I was like, oh yeah, you take these. I'll take these home. I'm sure I'll find new shoes to wear. And I've gotten home and my mom was like, what do you have on? Like, whose shoes are those? Like, and I was like, oh, I traded with my friend. I'm not going to say her name. It's not like anybody knows her, but I was like, oh, I traded. And I remember this vividly because it was a Sunday. We went to church. I came home and my mom had just come from the States to visit and she brought new clothes, new shoes. So I was just trading my stuff back and forth. I had like nothing left. But to me, it wasn't weird. It wasn't like a thing for me. It was just like, oh, somebody had bad shoes. I know if I go home, I have at least 10 other shoes. So you take these ones. And that's just kind of how my grandma raised me. So it's never been like a thought. Like And then I met my husband too, and I always would make this joke. We could have $1 and somebody would ask to borrow $1 and my husband would give them that $1 and then we would be the broke ones. Cause like, it's just a thing. It comes very, very second nature to just give a hand when you can. It's whatever you think is extra for you is somebody's need. Like, it's whenever you think you have excess or you have too much, just think somebody needs that. Whenever you think you have too many clothes. And I think I tell maybe you or Carol, before I buy new clothes or we buy new shoes, we will go through our house, we'll go through our closet and we'll have to get rid of something before we buy new things, donate something before we buy new things. And it's just kind of how I grew up. My grandma raised me like that. So I have to give the credit to her. But how do I function with the sleep thing? I don't know. At the time of recording this, I haven't slept since yesterday.
And this is not the first time you've had that situation.
It's not really. And I think I haven't had like a normal sleep routine since maybe middle school. Yeah. Like if I'm going to be honest and dig in my memory, the last time I went like a whole week, Sunday to Sunday, going to bed at a decent time and waking up and middle school, like 8th grade. So I don't know what it is. I've always been able to function on very little sleep. Like I could do an hour nap in a day and I'll be fine for like the next 24 hours. And I'm not talking about like horribly functioning, like fully functioning. I could do 2 days. I've pushed 3 days before. And then I went to a military college. You had to figure out how to get through that. So that didn't help. It kind of made it worse because I figured out I kind of got too good at not sleeping and functioning. And then as an adult, then as a mom, I don't know. It's not good. I don't recommend it. 10 out of 10, 0 out of 10 would not recommend. 10 out of 10 would recommend you get some sleep. But even till now, I'm not able to sleep fully. Like if I was to make myself go to bed at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., my body is just like, no, it's not gonna work out. But I wish I could sleep more. I wish, but I don't know. I think I'm too far behind now to catch up on my circadian rhythm. I think I'm too far behind. Hopefully though, in the future I can catch up. But now I think it's a foregone conclusion.
So the next question is from C Journalist 24. Says,
CJ,
how does it feel to use your platform for the Ghana Project and do some good amidst all this evil?
Wow. Yeah, to me, that's one of the biggest things. And I tell my husband every day whenever, and when we were doing our fundraiser too, I was like, shout out to Blake Lively, man. Because without Blake and Justin, and I've always supported my community. So the support was always going to be there. But the level at which I've been able to, in a matter of 1 year, last year alone, 2 big drives that we did around my birthday and Christmas, without this case happening, that doesn't happen, right? So as much as I hate the litigation and everything she's putting Justin through, I appreciate her for the community that she's brought me. And I hope we can, I can keep them for forever. But it's great. To me, that's like one of the biggest, and I hate to say the best things to come out of this, but if we're being honest, the best things to come out of this is the fact that like what we were able to do just this past Christmas, the support we were able to give. And there are the other people who have, stuff they support and they've been able to use their community to do that. But yeah, I guess if there's one good thing this case has done is, for me, at the very least, is be able to support me like that in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's huge.
And I was so excited seeing just your community rally towards it.
Yeah.
Because obviously I didn't get to see it like the year before, but
Yeah.
like even you taking lessons from the year before and going, okay, actually, how can we maximize this
Yeah.
so that the impact is even stronger with what people are doing? So
Yeah. And I'm glad I thought of that very quickly, because the first time I was like, I didn't, and I think that my mistake was I underestimated my community, and for that I apologize. And thank Andy too, because at the time we did the April drive, I didn't have the support that I had now. So we did that on Andy's channel actually. And I just thought I'll do Amazon wish list, because how many people are going to send little old me something to go donate, right? And I remember, I think I've told you this before, but when Andy told me to make my wish list, I had never done an Amazon wish list before. So I pretty much put like 10 crayons, 10 socks, a couple of toys in my own Amazon cart, as if I was like about to buy it. And then I sent Andy a screenshot, and Andy texted me back like, what is this? And I was like, oh, this is my wish list. Andy tells a story much funnier. He was like, are you nuts? And I was like, no, this is my wish list. Like, if people can just give me these 10 things. Andy was like, girl, a wish list. Go on, create like a registry. And I was like, so then I did, but then I'll put like 5 things in a cart. And Andy was like, put like 100. And I was like, Andy, nobody's buying 100 books for me. He's like, just put it in a cart. And mind you, this is the same day we were doing the live. The live was at like 4 p.m. No, like 2 p.m. And it's noon. And he had been asking me to make the wish list for like 2 weeks, but I thought I was just going to put things in my cart. So I never did it. So like an hour before the live, he's like, where's the wish list? And I'm scrambling, putting things. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I get? What do I get? What do I get? And then I put things together. And actually, while we were on the live, I was still updating the wish list. So to leave that live with almost everything had been purchased at that time.
What?
Yeah. I had to keep going back and adding more things because when we left the live, over 2,000 items had been purchased.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I was not prepared because then the packages started being delivered and nothing could have prepared me for that. And you guys have seen videos. Thousands of packages come into my house. The Amazon delivery guy looking at me every day like, what is going on here? And a lot of the things were little things. So they would come in individual packets. And because people were buying them from their own accounts, somebody would buy like 1 crayon, but it would come as a package or like 10 books. It was like, it was amazing. It was beautiful. But having the paper cuts that I had from all the Amazon envelopes. And then when I was done, having to recycle everything, all the packaging, and then having to repackage everything to ship it to Ghana. And because everything was new, when we shipped it to Ghana, we now had to pay tax on because it looked brand new. They thought we were trying to open a store or something. And so I was like, oh my God, I can never do this again. Because just the money we spent on the tax alone kind of made me sad because that's money we could have used to buy things already in the country for people. So I was like, very quickly, I was trying to figure out the best way to do it. And I was like, I'm going to have to hope my community believes in me and trust in me enough that if I say I'm doing a GoFundMe, I don't look crazy. And it took me like 4 months to agree to put that GoFundMe out there because I knew I wanted to do that drive for the holidays. And people were asking me how they can support all throughout the year before Christmas came around. But I was so nervous to tell people I'm doing a GoFundMe because I was like, they just got to know me on the internet. I don't want them to think I'm some crazy lady. And so to me, the best way I could do that is I actually started looking through all my pictures, had my grandma send me everything as like proof. I was like, I have to show them the proof first, right? Show them I'm not a crazy person. Show them this is something I've been doing my whole life. Like I front loaded the information as much as possible. I was like, guys, look, this is me when I had braces and I was doing donations. I promise it's me. This is me when I barely had like my, so I try to show them as much proof as possible. That way I didn't feel bad because that's one thing I didn't want to feel is like the angst of somebody thinking like I'm lying or anything like that. Like I would have hated that. And there were a couple of times people in my comments like, oh, this is a scam. And I would literally like convulse. Like I wanted to vomit. Like that's how sick I felt. But then my community would like be in the comments defending me. And I was like, oh, thank you guys. So I think that was like, I was glad that I was able to, and I had the proof from when I was a kid up until a year ago, the things I was doing to show my community. And they were like, we don't need any more proof, girl. We see what you've been doing. You've been doing the Lord's work. What do you need us to do? So thank God for pictures and videos from back in the day. Like I'm always going to take them now. But yeah, it was such a long answer.
Well, I mean, it's a worthwhile answer, right?
Yeah.
It lets people know a lot about your heart and why you do anything that you're doing. So the next one is from Rachel's View, which is one of my Bocce besties. And she said, what gives Elsrich the power to report completely unfiltered? Was she born this fearless or did the courage creep in over time?
I'm a first-born daughter of an immigrant. I haven't been allowed to express my views very openly a lot in my life. So I'm taking advantage of you guys, if I'm being honest. No, I think that, but also like, this is kind of just who I am. I'm African. There's not a lot of sugarcoating in an African household. Especially like, how do I put this? I always say African parents or grandparents are very funny in the way that they are unfiltered. They will say stuff that you would think, what? Where did you come up with that? And that is just the honest truth. And my grandma kind of talks this way, like off the cuff, like whatever is coming out, just be ready. We're going to deal with the consequences after it arrives, which goes back to my answer about I don't know what I'm saying half the time till after I've said it. And I don't mean it to mean I don't think of what I'm saying. I mean my delivery, I almost always don't know. I don't think about what I'm delivering or how I'm delivering it. It just flows through. It's like an energy source. It just comes out and we deal with the consequences after. So I appreciate that. I love that you guys enjoy the rough edges, I guess, that I have. But yeah, I've always kind of been like this, but I was also very conservative as far as like, I'm a firstborn daughter of an immigrant, like I said. So I always kind of had to be careful of what I would say around my mom and stuff like that. But ever since I left the house, I'm like, let it fly. Let it
Do you
fly.
think you're courageous or fearless?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Have you always been that way, or did it creep in time?
I think I've always been that way. But again, the African thing comes in play because then I've always kind of been very reserved. I've been courageous, I've been brave and all of that and fearless, but there's always like a hint of a filter in a way. I don't want to call it a filter, but I don't know the word. Like a pause, like a caution, because you don't want to offend your elders, which is so weird to say. You don't want to offend the other party or whatever, but still being honest with, you know, what you want to convey, what you want to be. But yeah, I think you know what? The answer is yes, because I've always gotten in trouble for not being filtered enough. So yes. Now that I think about it, yes, I've been way too fearless and courageous in my life because I've gotten in trouble way too many times for not being reserved enough. So yeah, that's the answer. And I had to work through that in real time. Yeah.
Love it. The next one is from Yulisa, and it says, Elsrich, if you can point the audience to one piece of evidence that has a much deeper, nuanced meaning than what's on the surface, what would it be?
Oh my God, Yulisa, yikes. I feel like if you asked me this before January 15th, January 20th, I would have had a different answer. But now that we've had like the most evidence dropped on us, I don't want to say I'm drawing a blank because I shouldn't be drawing a blank. There's so much evidence, but I am. I don't even know what to pick now because
what would it have been prior to the
now
drop?
I don't know either. I'm trying to think prior, what would it have been? And I feel like I have an answer, but now I don't know what to say. You know, and I think the answer is always going to be this. And it's always been the fact that there is not a single text message from Ryan Reynolds asking Blake Lively on the set if she was okay ever. Any single day.
Do we get to see that, though?
Huh?
Do we get to see that? Are we
No. I'm saying like the fact that it's never existed. We've never been able to see. I don't know, maybe I'm answering it backwards, but the fact that we've never had that to me was always, and I've always made videos where I've said, I just want to see one text message from your husband or your best friend asking if you are okay that day on a set. Like, hey, did you see Justin today? How did you feel when you saw him today or something like the fact that that never existed to me, because I know how I handle my friends and my husband handles situations with me. And I've been around people who have been uncomfortable in situations. And I know they all have a text message or a phone call that exists. And I know it's hard to prove a phone call, but that exists of saying, hey, today specifically, are you okay? Did so-and-so come near you? Did this and that happen? But also, I think answering that, I'm finding it easier to answer this is the fact that Blake Lively did not need this job. And I think people forget that. And with the text messages of how hard she was working to show up on this set with her body, with her postpartum situation and everything, she really didn't need this job. So why was she putting herself through what she claimed she put herself through? And you didn't have a contract either. So you could have just walked away any minute and nobody could have whooped you. So I wish I had more, like, honestly, like there's so many evidence we have now, so much evidence we have now, like the answer is too much in my head. But I just think she never needed this job. She wasn't Isabella Ferrer doing her first job. She didn't need the money. She didn't need the credit. She didn't need the credentials.
She might say she needed the credit. The PGA one. PGA mark.
For sure. And maybe that was her motivation all along. But she did not need this movie for any reason at all. Definitely not to feed her family or to continue her career. So I think that's something we overlook a lot. The fact that she didn't need this and she didn't need to show up.
Yeah. Well, Cruisian Fiber Geek says, what does she think is the most important thing to know about this case?
And it might go back to the question before, the fact that there is nuance, right? And the fact that people don't realize almost Justin Baldoni almost doesn't refute anything Blake Lively swears she's, accusing him of. He just has the context to back up the situation. And I think And recently I saw this girl's video. I mentioned it in my video before. It had like 500 views. She's like, if I'm getting into this Justin Baldoni Blake Lively thing and I'm looking for an unbiased, did you see that video?
Yeah.
I'm looking for an unbiased person to follow. And I'm like, no, we're too far in now. There shouldn't be anybody without a bias. Like, you should have your biases by now. Everybody covering this case, I don't care which side you're on. And that's not even me saying everybody can be Team Justin. Whether you're Team Blake or Team Justin, you should have enough information now as to why you think what you think. There should be no more teetering. Oh, I'm in the middle. I don't know. Enough. We have enough of that. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is the fact that people need to realize that, like, this case is full of nuance. I can tell you exactly what Blake said and not give you a single piece of context, and Justin looks absolutely crazy. And then I could tell you what Blake said, give you Justin's context with all the evidence, and you're like, is Blake okay? So I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, the word nuance has never been more important than in this litigation. Like, context, nuance, and just pretty much like, yeah, I think nuance. People need to know, like, every single claim she has, there's not a lot that he refutes. Just he gives the context to back up everything she says and make it look so trivial that, like, why are we here?
Yeah. No, it's really interesting too, because I feel like that was an intentional tactic on Blake Lively's part. Because if you think about it, the best way to make people feel like they're justifying some sort of SH is by saying something that's kind of true. And now they have to come and provide the context. And so
Yeah.
then people come in and say, see, they're not
Oh,
denying it.
they're not denying
They're
it. Yeah.
just trying to make it seem like it's okay. And it's
Yeah.
like, but talking
Yeah.
about circumcision, I knew he had to be talking about circumcision. The minute she
Yeah.
says he was like describing his genitalia, I'm like, I bet is either a circumcision or vasectomy. Just watching this case go down.
Yeah.
They were having a conversation, but it's like her ability to take very benign things
Yeah.
and somehow strip it of all context,
Yeah.
just to make you imagine the worst thing possible.
Yeah. And I think, just to kind of wrap that up, people need to keep, I think it's such a reminder every single time people bring up this thing. We're not working at an Office Depot. We're not working at an insurance company. This was a movie set, a movie where they were tackling subjects that had to do with sex and violence and this and that and the third. And Justin was an actor and a director, which, when we have the conversation of they wanted to remove him as a director, but not an actor, why? Like, why would you want him gone as a director, but as an actor, he was just going to automatically stop being weird to you as just an actor? So it's never as black and white as people want it to seem, which is what Judge Lyman brought up a lot at the hearing they had. Where is the line on a movie set? Where does it begin and where does it end? Which is, again, I'm going to use the word nuance again. It's never going to be clear cut, dry. It's never going to be that. I think people need to stop trying to, like, achieve that and, like, get that goal. On a movie set, it's never going to be that straightforward.
Yeah. Lizzie Lopez says, why should the public care about this case?
A year later. Okay. I think, as much as, it might seem like these are two Hollywood people just butting heads and it's out of our tax bracket and we shouldn't care. To me, and I said this earlier, I have a son and I have a husband. At the very least, I want my son to live in a world where if somebody was to accuse him of something, he has a chance. I want my husband to live in a world where if somebody was to accuse him of something, he has a chance. I read a comment the other day, somebody was saying, and Blake Lively's friends were saying as much in the text message, oh my God, his wife must be mortified. Like, no, his wife isn't mortified. No, his wife is quite happy with him because this is who he really is. Blake Lively trying to use her uterus as a stepping stone to get one over on the public is what's crazy. So I think the public should care, because as much as, again, it seems like it's just Hollywood people fighting it out, no, it's a real issue that plagues the world, the country, the legal system. And I don't know how many people are going to cite Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni in their legal cases moving forward, because, again, there's so much nuance. I feel like a regular SH case in an office may not be able to pull on this because it was from a movie set, as a case law type thing. But I think just allowing the process to take place and just letting the truth come out, whatever it may be, which I've appreciated about the Wayfarer parties. What looks bad, looks great, looks good, looks ugly, they've allowed us to see. I think I think it's good for society. I think
another aspect too is like Van Zandt.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, for that very reason, people should be concerned that anybody is utilizing a shell company to grab information that somebody can't even do their due process, because if you just have two willing parties, which I will always say, Ryan Reynolds, be concerned, because there might be two willing parties nowadays for your stuff. So
100%.
So Bashia, one of my bocce buddies, had said, do you think fans are reacting to facts, personalities, or just the loudest headline?
Do I think fans? Like fans of...
Maybe either side or both, if you think it's the same.
I don't want to minimize the impact that I think we have had as content creators, because I know that people who watch us, and I'm talking about between my 33,000 subscribers, which your 5,000 subscribers, which I feel like is the same pot. Donna's subscribers, Zach's, Andy's, the people who watch our content are far beyond headlines, right? They are not actually looking for headlines anymore. They don't look for headlines anymore. And then there are the people who know nothing about this case, and it comes on their timeline every now and again, and they see headlines. But now our community is doing such a good job in the comment sections that when you go in the comment sections, they're correcting headlines. And then there are people who are just fans of, say, Blake or Justin, who literally couldn't tell you one headline in this case. And they're just like, I'm Team Blake. I'm blind to the truth. I'm blind to whatever. I'm Team Justin. And that's fine too. So I don't know that the answer is one. I don't know that I can say it's headlines or just fandom or whatever. I think we've divvied it up enough and I think we've balanced the scales enough where in the beginning of this was mainly headlines were winning. Headlines were winning last year, right? And then the content creators, we buckled down and we were like, no, this can't be it. TMZ and People Magazine and Daily Mail and whoever cannot. And even sometimes content creators have headlines that to me I find are misleading, but I do what you got to do. But I think even that people know enough now to know that the headlines are not what the real story is. Like Justin Baldoni says, you smell good. What? Like Justin Baldoni marvels at Blake Lively's beauty. That's not what happened. Like, I don't know that. I don't know many people who are reading headlines and moving on anymore. Almost everybody I know now is looking at the headline and now they need the context. And then even when TMZ or whoever isn't giving the context, they're in the comments telling them, hey, your context is missing. And I love that. I think those are some of my favorite comments to read on the big publications when I see their posts, is people telling them in their comment section how wrong they are.
I will say that is another thing that has come out of this case that I have appreciated the most, which is that people now dissect headlines.
Yeah.
People don't trust in a good way. And fact check far more. And I think that's better for all of us if people do that.
100%.
So, Yarn and Order, Sarah, asks, if she got hired to rehabilitate Blake's image, how would she do it? Or would you even do it? I mean, how much is she paying you? Or is there a price ever?
I'm going to answer like unbiased. Like, I'm actually going to put myself in a position like I'm an actual PR person and I'm being hired to rehabilitate her image. I'm going to put her on a 10-year plan because that's how long it's going to take. She needs to go away for a long time. Like, honestly, people need to forget about her for a while. Like, she cannot do the Taylor Swift thing where they're just putting out headlines of her doing good things. It's not going to fly. She needs to genuinely go away for a while. Like, just go to Connecticut, have 2 more kids or something that we don't know about. Like, don't post the pregnant pictures, nothing. Just pop out in 5 years with 2 more kids. Honestly, just kind of go away. Because right now, like, we're oversaturated with Blake. Like, there's nothing you're going to do to convince me or anybody else that you are not wrong, that you're not racist, that you're not... Just, you need to go away for a while. People need to forget about you and your husband for like a good 3 to 5 years minimum. And then maybe when she comes back, not even like a movie, and definitely don't come back with charity either. I'm not falling for it. Just come back and tell us you had some new kids and stuff, and just let paparazzi take pictures of you drinking coffee down the street. And before we know it, you're doing bake-offs at your kid's school, stuff like that. Just go away.
Those kind of bake-offs, or the bake-offs?
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize I did that. Yeah, no, just, I don't think she should act again. Like, because that's not going to work. It's not going to work. And her husband will get away with it. Yeah, I think just be done with the movies and definitely don't start a podcast. Definitely don't start a podcast. But like, I will start with her going away for like 5 years and then we can revisit that after when she comes back. But definitely going away.
Do you think it has to be like go away for 5 years and come back, like showing that it mattered? Like she did work in those 5 years, or just being gone for 5 years is enough?
No. She has to come back and show her work. Come back with a book. She needs to come back with a book telling the truth. And I think people will care because in 5 years, nobody would care enough to still be pissed off, but they will care enough to read the book and be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be 5 years. Nobody's going to be holding a grudge anymore. I probably will, but they're not going to care enough for your tell-all book. Your tell-all book will not do numbers. Like it's not going to be New York bestseller. Maybe it will, but nobody's going to care enough to bring everything back up again. They will read the book and take your word for it. Whatever you said, blah, blah, blah. Just go away. They need you to go away. But yeah, but definitely not an actor anymore, though. Don't come back as an actor. Just come back, write a book, and take care of the kids. Something like that. I don't know.
Okay, so Ronnie asks, if she could say anything to Justin or any Wayfarer party member, what would it be?
It had to be them. It couldn't be anybody else, at least for me. I don't know about you and other people, but the support they've been able to get, the community they've been able to build, money can't buy that. Like if they were paying for this PR, they wouldn't have enough money to pay for lawyers. I'm not even joking. And I always make the joke moving forward, celebrities are going to be asking for the Justin Baldoni special when they go to their publicist and they go to the PR firms. Can I get the Justin Baldoni package where people just started making content to support him? At least for me, I can speak for myself. If this was any other director in Hollywood, man, woman, whatever, and they were being accused of this, I don't know that I'm getting up to make videos explaining things to people. I don't know that and it could, same scenario, same Blake Lively, same Ryan Reynolds, same everything, just insert somebody other than Justin and Wayfarer and Jamie in there, and I don't care. Like, God bless you guys. I hope you see a way through this, but I don't care enough to educate the public. It had to be them. And it's so weird to say without giving context, but Justin sends this text message to, I think, Rain, where he was talking about the fact that he feels like God had forsaken him. And I told Carol this the other time. I was like, he might not come when you call him, but he's always on time. At the time where they were on the set and Justin thought he needed God's help or whatever, if God had helped you back then, like with Blake in like one scenario, at their house or something, if Ryan had never yelled at you there, if this had never happened, maybe you don't get the support now. You have to go through all that to realize this moment, because what's happening now, the support he's getting now, I don't know that maybe they notice it or they realize it, but it's not little. It's not a small thing. And like I said, money can't buy this. So I feel bad that they have to go through it. I feel bad that they have to suffer through this, but it could only be them. This is their thing, that it had to be them. It's so weird to say without, in my mind, it makes sense. I hope it makes sense for your audience, but
it makes sense.
It couldn't be anybody else. Yeah, it couldn't be anybody else. It had to be them.
I mean, even I think in general, not only in regards to how the public would care, but just the reason the public cares is because I mean, at least for me, I think, speaking only for myself, there's a consistency in which they've lived their lives behind the scenes. Yes. Because Ryan and Blake are out here saying they're scheming, they're plotting, they're not who they claim to be, but yet they were exactly who they claim to be behind the scenes. When they never knew that those text messages were going to come to light. And Blake and Ryan were exactly who we thought they were, and actually were worse.
Exactly.
And so they told on themselves. And what I think for me, watching the whole thing with Justin and Jamie, is they're exactly who I thought they would be.
Yeah.
Which I actually didn't have a thought of who they would be. But based off of what Ryan and Blake were saying, they're not who they claim to be. And I'm like, well, their private text messages say otherwise.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. I love the fact that they haven't embarrassed us yet. Like, I love the fact that they haven't let us down. Like, they're who we thought they were. The reason we chose to follow them and support them, they haven't let us down yet.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that.
And I will say there are some like pieces of like language that I would choose differently.
Of course.
But I still see the heart behind their intention behind those words, even if I'm not a fan of certain words used. But
yeah. I'm a fan.
So Vicky asks, do you think Blake has substantial evidence?
Do I think Blake has evidence? Let's start there before we get to substantial, Vicky. We need to start with evidence before we get to substantial. You're pushing it, Vicky. I think she has enough evidence to claim she was uncomfortable. She doesn't have nary enough evidence to claim she was sexually harassed. Enough to bring a litigation forward. Like, no, not at all.
How about retaliation?
Absolutely. Yeah. Or yes. No. Please get away from me with this. Please and thank you. Yeah.
All right. So SGAXS says this came from a Reddit post that they saw, I believe, and they said, "Can Elsrich debunk this? That they made every woman on set uncomfortable and then hired a PR company to do a smear campaign." Obviously, that's a big ask and a question.
I mean, it's a huge ask, but I think I'm going to use Jenny Slate's own words when they asked her, why didn't you join Blake Lively in this lawsuit in her deposition? She's like, this is not my lawsuit. Whatever issues I had, I settled it on the set and I was ready to move on. The level at which Blake Lively is claiming she was traumatized and she was harassed and this is the worst thing she's ever experienced, your makeup artists and your hairstylists who've been with you for years would just jump on your bandwagon and support you. They would have just hopped on this lawsuit with you. Jenny Slate, being a woman that she is, and you guys being women together, would have just been like, girl, I'm gonna be a girl's girl. I don't even care. Add me to the lawsuit. Isabella Ferrer, all the grooming you put her through, she could have jumped on it, but all that girl did was dodge her subpoena to be deposed, only to tell us in a deposition she felt safe to do her job, but not on a personal level. What does that even mean? So, yeah, I think it's hard to debunk it, but I think your best bet is to look at the fact that at the end of the day, Blake Lively ended up bringing this lawsuit by herself. And every opportunity she had for real authority to investigate, he forewent that. All she wanted was enough proof to give to the New York Times to release an article. That's all she wanted.
Yeah, I hear you. I think for a short answer, that actually was powerful in regards to what Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer said, right? So B Sunshine Sky, which is a Bocce buddy, said, "What is your Roman Empire about this case?"
I've had a couple Roman empires since we started, and now I don't know that I have one.
Have they been answered?
This case is gonna be the death of me. How am I gonna put this? I think now, ever since we saw the text messages and everything that was happening around April, my Roman Empire is proving that Ryan Reynolds put all this in gear because he was mad Justin Baldoni rejected his writing. Because nothing else makes sense, right? The way Blake Lively was talking to Justin, the way Justin was at the house, and to me, holding the baby is a big deal to me. Him hanging out with the baby, him saying, "Oh, I will send you the pictures." They took pictures. Blake messaging him saying, "We had so much fun. We barely even got any work done." But then everything kind of went sour with the whole, this doofus director now thinks he's a writer. Blake Lively wasn't talking like that until Justin Baldoni rejected the writing. So now my Roman Empire is proven. Ryan Reynolds got his feelings all the way hurt the minute Mr. Baldoni said the writing is crap, which is also when he reached out to Liz Plank, by the way. So I'm going with that.
That wasn't my Roman Empire, but now you got me left chewing on something new to think about. Just Khaleesi, another Bocce buddy, said, "Did Elsie finally watch K-pop Demon Hunters?" No.
Let me show you guys. Still where it was. Let me go on my Netflix. I'm going to show you guys. It's still sitting. The thing is still going to be sitting where it was. I didn't watch it. What I did do is I have recently fallen in love with Jinu's song. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, okay, I kind of, yeah.
It's still sitting where it was. But I've recently fallen in love with Jinu's song to Rumi when he talks about something like, I would have given you my soul, I gave you my soul, whatever the song is. I haven't watched K-pop Demon Hunters. What I have watched since we talked last, Khaleesi, is I've watched probably 20 K-dramas, which is so crazy to say because K-pop Demon Hunters is probably one episode of a K-drama. And I've watched, Danny, you guys know Danny, Plush Diaries Danny, put me on K-dramas because when I was trying to watch my rom-coms, she was like, okay, the rom-coms are cute, but watch K-dramas. And I was like, oh no, ew, I don't do K-dramas. And she was like, please just watch these. And she gave me some recommendations. And when I talked to her last night, I literally texted her last night and I was like, you ruined me, by the way. Because ever since she texted me in January or whatever, I haven't been able to stop watching K-dramas and C-dramas. The Chinese dramas are also good. That I'm embarrassed to say that I have completed over 20 series.
Wow.
Series,
not just shows. Series.
I think I've completed like 30. And the crazy thing is, the Chinese dramas are longer. All the Chinese dramas are like 27 to 36 episodes, but it's one season thing and it's done.
Yeah.
And the K-dramas are like 12 to 16, 18 episodes. Bocce, I'm so embarrassed to say. Like I've legitimately watched. Like it's become my life.
Well, they can be very addicting.
No, they're so bad. Like it's scary. Like you know how you like the one episode ends and you're like another one. And I look up and it's like 9 a.m. and the sun is out and I'm like, and then my husband is looking at me like, did you not sleep? And I was like, and then he's like, what episode are you on? And I'm like, 24. He's like, weren't you on episode 5 when we're going to bed? And I'm like, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to say it, but they're so good. I mean, sometimes the plot is bad and the writing is like, I skip through certain parts of it because I'm not sitting through that horrible writing. But the premises of these shows, they're good. They're good. Guys,
I mean, if you're embarrassed by K-dramas, which are actually quite addicting and so good, I'm the one embarrassed because I got suckered into all of those vertical shorts.
Okay, you're worse than me. Just watch the real stuff. Don't do the vertical shorts.
I'm telling you though, I love Candy Jar. Their quality of video for Candy Jar is ridiculously good. Like the high quality.
They're good? Yeah.
Yes.
But can I say though, I wasn't going to recommend any of the shows, but I've watched, like I said, my brain, I've seen so many K-dramas and C-dramas in the last 3-4 weeks that they're all one big show now. But if I was to ever recommend a show for somebody to watch,
yes,
I'm going to recommend one. And there's so many I could recommend. But the one that I've watched so far that has absolutely broken me and put me back together and made me believe in something. The First Frost.
The First Frost. And this is on Netflix or where?
It is on Netflix. And it's about 36 episodes. Like a thick 40-minute episodes each. And I finished it in a 24-hour span. I'm so embarrassed. I don't know how I did that. But I finished in about 30 hours. I finished it about a day and a half. That's how good it was. I couldn't stop. I mean, talk about heartbreak and pain and everything. But I
will tell you, I'm the kind of person, unless the background music is an important part, I tend to be a person that watches things at 1.5 to 2 speed. That's just how my brain works.
We talked about that. Yeah. But the only thing with this is, and I don't watch dub, by the way. If you're watching the K-dramas and C-dramas, I don't watch the English dub. That's just horrible. Like you could read subtitles. Because you need the inflection of the real actors' voices and stuff for it to make sense. So that's the only reason why I can't watch it in 2x and stuff like that. Because like I need to hear. Now I swear I speak Korean and I speak Chinese.
That would be amazing. If you learned it, I mean, it's the best way to kind of learn new languages.
Yeah, now I pick up the phone and I'm like, wait. Which is how the Chinese say hello. Yeah. And I'm like, 여보세요. My husband is like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, no, I'm so deep into it now. Like I cannot even find my footing. But yeah. Hey, guys, if you're looking for something to watch, please watch The First Frost. Like it will break you. Bocce, I'm putting this on your radar now.
Okay. I mean, I am going on vacation soon, so
yes. Like I mean, and another thing I have to say, if you're gonna watch the K-dramas or whatever, and you're in a relationship, make sure your relationship is solid, because you will leave every show ready to leave your spouse. Be like, how dare you not be this? How dare you not be this good? And you're like, okay, that's a written character. Get out of it. But like, talk about a person. The First Frost is just like, it was beautifully done. Like, yeah, it was just wow. Like I couldn't. Yeah, in my mind, if you could write a person to like choose to be a person's person in life, that's how you would write that. Like, and it was teetering on stalkering, but no, it never gave that. I don't know if that makes sense. Like any minute now, he could have been a stalker, but it never gave stalker because of her feelings for him as well. But you gotta watch it. No,
I mean, people have said, what's the difference between a boyfriend and a stalker? It depends on if you want the attention or not.
If you want the attention or not. Yeah. No, but this was crazy. Yeah, it was good. And it's so good. I just watched it a week ago, but I'm damn near ready to do a rewatch. That's how good it was. Yeah, but I think it might be one of the things where I watch yearly, like I rewatch it yearly. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That must have been really impactful.
It was good. It was very impactful, yeah.
Well, the final question, and I know the answer to this, but just for folks to know, is she going to New York for the trial?
What if I say no? What do you mean
Well,
you know
then
the
I don't know the
answer?
answer anymore. I thought I knew your answer. Is
I'm
it an answer
like,
no
what do you mean you
now?
know my answer? What do you mean? What if I shock you and I say no? Yes. Yes.
You are go.
Yes. Everybody knows.
You're not shocking me. You're now
I'm not,
giving me the answer I thought you were gonna say.
yes. I was like, whatever your answer, as soon as she said I know what my answer is gonna be, my thought was, oh, let me just make her mad and just flip the script. Yes,
I
I
wouldn't
will
be
be in New
mad. I would
York.
be sad because I was like, I thought we were gonna meet
I
up.
know,
I
I'm
thought
going
I was gonna see ya.
No, yes, I will be in New York. I would be remiss if I wasn't in New York. Like how? I cannot depend on secondhand information. Like
100.
I need to see Blake's face. I need to see Justin's face. I need to see Blake's when she takes a stand and starts shivering. I need to come back and reiterate all that to you guys. So how could I not be there? I will be in New York. But yes.
Yes. I mean, same's planned for me. Hopefully we get in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a way.
Girl, I'm still looking. I'm still looking for a way to get in without waking up at the crack of dawn to line up. But I do appreciate the fact that it's now going to be in May.
I've heard good weather then.
Yeah, the weather is going to be better. Can you imagine, like, if they hadn't moved, trial would have been next month. Oh my God, that is so weird thinking of the fact that we would have been going to trial next month. But now it's
I mean, that's
May.
why I had planned my vacation during
Yeah.
that time frame. It was going to be on my birthday. Literally, it was
Yeah.
going to fall on my birthday. Now
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to
I
be probably in
appreciate,
Laos.
yeah, I appreciate the fact that the weather is going to be better. So standing in line, standing in line shouldn't be as crazy as, if it's like negative weather or whatever, I wouldn't survive.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
folks, this show is called 17 Questions with Bocce, but it hasn't been 17 questions for a while. It's just kind of free flowing. But I just wanted to say thank you, Elsrich, again. And one more time, even though everybody knows who you are and knows where to find you, tell them where again to find you.
You can find me here on YouTube. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I appreciate all of you guys' support. I appreciate all of you who came from my side to support Bocce. I know she appreciates it, but this community is great. This community that we've been able to build, and the fact that it's kind of like the same information, right, that we give them, but they will come to me. They'll go to you. They'll go to Shasti. They'll go to Donna. We appreciate you guys for making all the stops. Like you guys are like on a tour, like on a bar crawl. Or like a content creator crawl. You go to all of us for your different perspectives, and some way, somehow, we all still get our viewership and everything like that. So we appreciate you guys a lot. Yeah, we thank you for the support.
Thank you. And folks, as you know, typically I upload these on a Friday morning, but I am going on vacation, and I am going on vacation for a month. And so it was very exciting for me to have Elsrich be like my final person before I go on my vacation. So next time when you see this uploaded will be sometime in March. And I'm just reconfirming with some of the folks that have said that they would be guests to let you know who my next guest will be. But again, thank you for spending time with us, and I hope you enjoyed this. And hype, and if you haven't subscribed to me yet, please consider it. And obviously, if the chances are high you're already subscribed to Elsrich, and if not, like YouTube unsubscribed you and you need to resubscribe.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
thanks, folks. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, guys.